Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm back again with another quick tutorial. More than a tutorial, it's something just we're going to explore within Figma. So take a look at this icon. It's blurry, it's low resolution PNG. I pulled it out of a random screenshot. Usually this means I have to spend another 10 minutes tediously tracing this using the pen tool. But not anymore. Figma has just launched a native AI Vectorizer feature, and this basically means no more manual tracing. And today we are putting this tool to the test. We'll start with some simple icons and we'll keep moving up the complexity and see how this goes. So all we want to do is just see if this is a legit game changer or is it just another AI hype. So these are images that I've picked out of the internet. So none of these are my works. It's all taken from the internet. That's a disclaimer. So I'll just zoom in to the first one that we're going to try, that is low resolution icon tracing. So here you can see this is a really blurry image of an icon, and let's see how this performs, right? So first thing, I'll just duplicate an image of this to the right, and then we'll try to convert this into a vector. So before that, as soon as you select an image, you'll get this new set of contextual options at the bottom. So crop, select an area, and then you can, do some AI edits on that. Then you have remove background, edit with a prompt and more. So go to the more options, and here you have a couple of more options. So here we have it, Vectorize. Just click on that and it'll start doing its magic. So it's using AI and then it's going to vectorize this one. So it's done. So as you can see, it is still the same. It has got these blurry zigzag edges. And you can actually simplify the number of colors here. That is one option that you have. But let's go ahead and see how this has performed, right? So here you have it on the right, and this is an image and this is the vector. So you can go here and start changing colors. But it's really bad, right? So what you can do for such images is first select the image, then come into more and just use the boost resolution. So with this, what it does is it kind of boosts the resolution here. It's much better now. And now if you try to convert this into a vector, it must do a pretty good job, right? You can compare these, right? So this has done a pretty good job, and we can reduce the number of colors here probably to 1. And you can also have these options of doing black and white and color and grayscale. So choose black and white and this should do a pretty good job. So as you can see, this has done a really good job. And now I can come here and start tweaking the colors. Still it has got some, bad edges and stuff. You can go into the draw mode, simplify the vector, and you can get a pretty good asset out of it. So that is one thing with blurry icons. Now let's go ahead and try something little more better. This is still blurry, but it's slightly better than the one on the top. So let's try this one. So here I'm going to use the tool again. And as you can see, this has done a pretty good job here. Now I can come here and start tweaking the colors. And as you can see, these are actually good usable icons that you can use on your designs as well. Let's say you have some old icons that you have in your projects and those are PNG. This is a very good way to convert it and reuse in your new projects as well. So that is low resolution icon tracing. Now let's go ahead and try something which is slightly more complicated. These are just flat graphic icons and logos, right? So let's go ahead and try Vectorize on this. So I'm just going to tap on this and go into Vectorize. And there you go. This one is really good. It has done a pretty good job. Only 2 colors as it was there. And I can tweak these colors as well. So I can give it something like this. And there you go. I can just start using these wherever I want. And again, these are just vector images, as you can see. I can place it wherever I want and it'll get my job done. So just gonna vectorize this one. And while that is happening, there is also a AI balance that Figma has introduced. So as you can see here, if you hover on this, you can see this used to AI credits. And to know how many credits you have, you just need to go to the file option here or the menu from Figma here, and you have something called as AI balance. And here you can see, right? So on a daily basis, you get 150 daily credits. And this probably is the overall monthly credits that they are providing. So yes, you can see 500 credits a month, and this is the daily limit. And on the paid plans, these credits are much more higher. Now let's try something more like, flat graphic logos and stuff. So this is again a logo that I've picked up. So I'll just tap on Vectorize. So let's see how this turns out to be, right? And it has done a pretty good job, but on the details part of it, so these are still, it has got some really sharp edges and stuff, which you'll have to rework on. But rather than again using a pen tool to trace this complete thing, this is going to solve like 90% of your problem, right? So this is a common use case that we find, right? Nowadays, we use AI for generating a lot of illustrations and logos and stuff. But those are again in PNG format or JPEG format. And it's not really usable because you need to make tweaks. Your client might ask some tweaks in that. It's not like they right away want to go with what's generated. So as designers, this is a very good way for us. You don't have to keep prompting. You can just bring it back to Figma and, just select it and come here and use Vectorize. And as you can see, it has done a really pretty good job, right? So these both are vectors right here. And you can use a slider to reduce the number of colors if you want to make it less complex or a single colored thing, right? And here you can see, right, I can go ahead and tweak these colors as well. So I want to change this colors right here. I just need to come start tweaking things, right? So that's really good, and the curves and edges all look great because AI does generate a pretty good image, and those images can be vectorized with such high precision as well. So AI generated logos, that's a check. It works great. Now let's move on to some complex logos which have a lot of details, right? So let's try it on these two. So I'm just going to use the vectorizer tool again. So as you can see, these both are now converted to vector, but these had a lot of details, right? And as you can see, this is not great. It's not really usable because these are really complex and such things cannot be vectorized much easily. So you probably would need to trace a lot of these high details here. So let me show you the before and after, right? So this is the before and this is the after. So before, you can see that it is kind of blurry, and this is also a different style of, illustration that you can use as well. Now let's also try something. So this is a real logo of a company and it is pretty complex, and it's also a good quality image. So let's see how this can be vectorized using the tool. I think it kind of did a pretty good job. And if you can see, the AI credits again used are just 2. So I think it's a standard AI credits that they're using, but still a lot of details have been lost. So this is the before and this is the after. So a lot of details are lost, but still it tried to manage to do it. I would say it's not usable because a lot of the text here is missing. So in such cases, it's not a good way to go with. But let's move on. And here is another use case, right? So hand-drawn to digital is something that designers often work with, and they prefer to go with Illustrator and stuff. So you sketch it on a paper and then you bring it to Figma, and then you want to, vectorize it to use it as a baseline, right? So I just try to vectorize this, and this is what it's providing, right? So what we can do is click on the black and white mode, and this is how it comes. But if I try to reduce the number of colors, this is the kind of output that I'm getting. So it is kind of losing a lot of the details, not a pretty good job. But we could also try to make some tweaks to the image. So for example, if I come here, try to increase the contrast, reduce the exposure slightly. So with this also, probably the shadows here slightly more here on this side, and highlights, I can increase it so that it loses a lot of these paper marks and stuff, right? So with this, I'm not sure how it's going to perform. So I'm just going to copy this as a PNG and paste it back. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to vectorize this one and see if this, okay, it is not that great still, but yeah, you can start using it as a baseline, right? So you have a pretty rough image here, which you can probably use it or not. I'm not into, digital art and stuff, so I'm not a right person to tell this. So as you can see, it has still lost a lot of details, and let's see how the grayscale mode or the black and white looks. So pure black and white, this is how it's going to look. And if I try to add in more details, this is the kind of output that you get. So if you are into digital art, you are the right person to judge this. So you can see if this one is usable or not. But yeah, again, this is in black and white. I can quickly change it to the color that I want and use it on my designs if this is kind of the style that you work with. So that is also going to work out. Now let's move on to something more complex, right? So this is more of a simple isometric style. So let's try to vectorize this one, see how that turns out to be. I am assuming that it should do a good job here. So as you can see, yes, it has done a pretty good job. I can make it simple as well. And this one looks decent to me, and I can go ahead and tweak all these colors, right? So I can change the color and it's going to reflect in the style that I want. Let's try it on something like this, right? So these are the kind of illustrations which AI generates when you ask for a futuristic style. So let's see what it does here. So I'm pretty sure it's going to face trouble here because gradients and stuff is something it generally faces trouble with. So as you can see, it has basically tried to convert the gradient here, right? So if I look at the before and after, you will get to know the difference. So this is the before, it has a gradient here, but when it tried to convert it to vector, you can see that it totally tried to make it into 2 separations, and it can't be applying gradients as of now. So I think that is something it can learn and improve as we go ahead. Again, this is just a beta that they have released. So that is illustrations and gradients, the reality check for that. But let's do some more reality check, right? That is with real photographs. And I'm pretty sure if you're a designer, you have seen this photo. But the point is not that, right? So I've seen a lot of these LinkedIn posts where people put how they created face portraits on Figma. A couple of them are fake. I don't want to name out those people here, but I've seen a lot of people put out fake photographs and starting to claim it that they have done it on Figma. But apart from that, there are some real people who do a lot of realistic vectors that look really amazing. So let's go ahead and try it on this real image and let's see how it performs here, right? So you'll get to know how a realistic photograph vector would look like. So yeah, this is how it looks like, right? You can't be getting realistic effects on this. But yeah, if you add a lot of blur and stuff, it starts to get real, but you can't be getting the ultimate photo editing kind of a thing that how you get in Photoshop and stuff. So yeah, that is how vectorization tool works. And this was a quick test on how it works on different complexity levels. And if you have used the Figma vector tool in your real workflows, let me know in the comments below. How is it? And do you think it has really changed how you work? And also every time nowadays Figma comes up with a feature, it's trying to kill a lot of these plugins. I know there were a lot of at least 10 to 12 plugins which were doing the same thing. It just killed or wiped out those plugins with this new feature.